When we're talking about wellness and health, I like to go down to the foundation. And when we talk about the foundation of the skin, we're talking about connective tissue. So let's talk a little bit about connective tissue. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And connective tissue, as a body worker, I'm very, very familiar with connective tissue. This is the stuff that holds the body together. It's stretchy, it's pliable, it allows the body to have shape and retain shape, but it's also, like I said, flexible. It's tough. The examples of connective tissue are all the way from bone. Bone is basically mineralized connective tissue, to our tendons and ligaments. Those are some of the tougher ones. And then the connective tissue that wraps the organs, everything from the loose, sort of wet connective tissue, mucousy, slimy, slippery connective tissue, all the way to the drier, tougher stuff. So when we talk about the skin, the reason that I can push on this and it retains its shape and is basically that it's got this wrapping of connective tissue. So first of all, at a cellular level, what is connective tissue? Why do we care? And then how do I take care of it? And this is really, really important for the skin, and we'll see it in a number of different areas. But mainly, we're talking about, you've heard of things like collagen, hyaluronic acid. These are the protein. The collagen is the kind of protein that's in the connective tissue, and when the collagen starts breaking down, then we lose structure because that connective tissue depends on the integrity of the protein. Okay, so let's talk about a couple factors involved in connective tissue. One is how is it made and how it's maintained, and then what happens if we don't get that. So like I said, the connective tissue gives shape. It gives stability to the skin, or any organ. In this case, we're talking about the skin. We have some very specialized connective tissue, like the fingernails, right? That's very specialized connective tissue, keratinized, but it has obviously a different kind of chemistry. And then hair, and that hair is not. It's not. I wouldn't call it connective tissue by any stretch. It's a hair follicle, but what I'm saying is that the hair follicle is embedded in connective tissue, and it keeps all of that. It's in the same category of protein synthesis, and it needs a lot of production of protein. So let me talk about the connective tissue real quick. What we have is, imagine, if you have a blueberry muffin, you have the blueberries, and then around the blueberries is the bread part, right? So if the blueberries were the cells, the bread part would be the protein matrix. This is the outside of the cell, the extracellular matrix. And so what happens is, if the blueberries are the little cells and they're distributed throughout this muffin, and they produce protein, and they produce protein in response to the signals that are given to it. So these are physical signals, mainly physical signals. If the body is injured, with a quick impact, it's going to have a signal of damage. It's going to tear, and it's going to pull on, actually literally pull on the outside membrane, and the outside membrane will then literally pull on the DNA, and the DNA gets activated in the form of, hey, we have overstretched, we have damaged the tissue here, the connective tissue. We need stiffer protein. So it produces protein that's stiffer, okay, that makes more cross-linking. It also changes the chemistry that creates more cross-linking. So we've got a situation where the chemistry changes, the actual protein response changes, in other words, what proteins are made changes, and then we get, that's not quite scar tissue. I'm just talking about adaptation, the adjustment of the connective tissue to the forces that are at work. So if we are constantly injuring our skin, damaging the skin, with a variety of different forces, we're going to be changing the chemistry of the connective tissue. So those are something to consider. In other words, for example, in the face, if I do this, and I do this a lot, I'm literally dragging my skin down, and I'm eventually gonna stretch out this skin here. So habits like this that especially nervous habits, if I'm doing something, it can have an effect on the integrity of the connective tissue. The connective tissue also depends on good blood circulation. Why? Because we need to get raw materials delivered. Remember that flood the body with nutrients thing? We've got to have nutrients to the cells, and because those cells are cranking out protein, they're responsive to protein. Responsive to the environment to create more protein. So that's the whole point. the extracellular matrix is maintained. I don't know if I'm throwing out these cell biology terms. I get all geeked out about this. So again, we've got these cells embedded in this gel-like matrix, this gel material, which is your connective tissue. These cells respond to the environment, the forces that are placed. If we get whiplashed and there's a heavy injury and that tissue gets damaged, it changes its chemistry and it changes its actual protein synthesis, and you start to get different kinds of fibers. Okay, massage therapy will go in and actually gentle stretching and gentle massaging of the tissue, and the connective tissue underneath the skin has been shown to actually change the production of the kind of fibers back to the stretchy kind of fibers, right? So the ones that are more elastic and stretchy. We don't need firm, resistant, against injury. We need, pliable. We're asking it to move and stretch. So getting regular massage is very, very good, or you can do it yourself. You can do your own self-massage, and the dry brushing is all part of that. If you've got one of these dry brushes that gives a little bit of a drag to the skin, so you're effectively getting some massage. You don't want to be too rough with that, but you're getting a little bit of massage as you brush that skin. Then you're creating that gentle stretch. You can always use essential oils associated with the skin and help to improve the effectiveness of the massage. And then here's, I know you've never heard me. I'm being facetious. Sulfurzyme. I know you've never heard about this product. This is brand new. I've never introduced you to this product. Again, one of my absolute staples, and the reason for this is it helps the body have the raw material it needs to make more protein. And that is key to the connective tissue being responsive, that it can make protein when it needs it. That's true for the immune system. It's true for all cell types, but some of these are much more heavily dependent on protein synthesis for their daily activities than others. And so that's, like, as I said, the immune system, the skin cells, the connective tissue, all very responsive and active, and they're constantly growing and producing more protein. And then you see that with the hair and nails, are the same thing. So it's very important that we take care of this connective tissue. And like I said, there's a number of ways that we can do this. One is we can give the raw materials that we need, but that raw material needs to be delivered. It's got to get into the actual connective tissue, which means we got to have good circulation. Now, antioxidants help with good blood flow, microcirculation with antioxidants. So we're back to Sulfurzyme that has the antioxidant wolfberry powder in it, but also we could do the companion product of the Ningxia wolfberry juice, the Ningxia red, and that again would help us with promoting circulation. Well, what are other ways that we promote circulation? Breathing. Oxygen, more oxygen into your bloodstream helps promote microcirculation. If you haven't done any of my breathing and you're just coming in brand new seeing this, and we haven't talked much about breathing, you need to go back to some of those videos in the very beginning and learn how to do some breathing. But just breathe with me right now. Inhale. Imagine that oxygen saturating the body. Exhale, get the carbon dioxide out. So acidity and our body will make it more difficult for the connective tissue to respond if the connective tissue gets acidic. So that's where diet comes in. You've heard me talk about these kinds of things. We got to get rid of sugar. We got to get rid of junky fat, the partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. Got to get rid of these artificial flavors and artificial preservatives and all this other stuff. We've got to clean things up if we're going to be well and healthy. This shouldn't be mystery. This is just motivation. Why do I need to do this? Right? If you want to have healthy skin that's maintaining its integrity and its shape, and it doesn't sag after years. Now, there are other ways that we get damage, chemical damage to connective tissue. The protein actually is getting damaged, and that's again from, like I said, chemical toxins. The more toxins we put on the skin, the more damaged our skin gets, the more we have to try to repair, and the more likely the body will not be able to repair, and you end up accumulating this damage to the skin. You end up with saggy skin, the collagen that's all been stretched out, and the cells are no longer producing the collagen again. They're worn out. They're not doing it anymore. Okay, so these are all these fundamental factors that we've been talking about pretty much the whole time through our wellness program here. You get to kind of hear a broken record. It's like, well, okay, yeah, we still need to do our vitamin C and our sulfurzyme and our antioxidants, and say yes, that pretty much and can cover that's your baseline healthy program right there. And then yes, we need a little additional things. So what we can do also is add extra protein if we're not getting good protein. And we went back to the digestive system. We talked about how we need to digest our protein. That happens in the stomach. If we're nervous stomach, if we don't chew our food, we're not going to break down our protein very well, and we're not going to get absorption. One of the things you can use a supplement like the Young Living Pure Protein Complete. I have not found its equal in the marketplace. I do shop around. I do try other products and other protein powders. I'm always looking for a protein powder to replace my Power Meal. Young Living had Power Meal, and they discontinued that, and I have not found a really happy replacement for that, but the Pure Protein Complete comes really darn close. So we need to feed the body with extra protein and amino acids that we need, that the connective tissue needs. It doesn't make all of its own amino acids. It does need some of these essential amino acids to be taken into the diet, and those have to be delivered. So you see how this works. Flood the body with nutrients. Stop poisoning ourselves. So stop damaging the skin with these chemicals and all the rest of this stuff. Flood the body, flood the skin with nutrients. We got to get everything in there. The oxygen. We've got to get the waste material to leave. We have to get the raw materials. The basic nutritional sulfur, and then the actual amino acids that we need to get in there. There's lots of other factors in there, but this is what I'm talking about. Basics. Flood the body with nutrients, and then manage our stress, right? So stress is going to have its effects at the skin level through the digestion. We'll talk a lot more about that later on in the month here. And then also in just creating acidity in the body, and then that acidity it brings down the tissue. It starts to break down the connective tissue. So that's here's our basically overview of connective tissue in general. All that I've just talked about will apply to connective tissue across the board in the body. And you got to watch out for protecting your connective tissue from steroid injections and the use of steroids. We're talking about prednisone and that kind of thing for pain and inflammation, but those will speed up the breakdown process of connective tissue. So you wear out your connective tissue if you're on a lot of steroids on a regular basis. So you really have to find a natural way to manage the inflammatory process, get that inflammation back down to a normal level. And use breathing. That's breathing and calming yourself down. Just doing some nice calming self-massage, using some essential oils for stress, like lavender, stress away, or peace and calming. You've got a lot of essential oil options for managing stress. So that's the whole package, right? If we want healthy skin, and you can every one of these topics, whether it's connective tissue or circulation or whatever, can always be broken down to some of these fundamental wellness things. So I hope you're hearing a message that you've heard before, so that you're motivated that it really matters. And if you really want to get healthy across the board, it's not that difficult. We just got to do some of these basic things and follow our basic strategy. Okay? Happy wellness. We'll talk some more. I'm going to continue working on the skin this month, and let me know how it's going if you're running into snags or anything, and if you're just have some, or I want to add some extra comments. Happy to have some feedback and some discussion. Okay? Happy wellness. We'll see you tomorrow.